I love how I was saying I was scared of hardcovers, and like almost all of the books I'm reading this month are hardcovers. If you want, it's Emily Fox. Today's video is going to be my first TBR of the year. So basically, I'm sharing with you a big pile of books I'm hoping to read in January. I have a few reading challenges for the year. I'll link that down below if you haven't seen them. But the first one, I need to choose from this cute little cat jar the big book I will be reading this month. One of my goals this year is to read a bunch of big books, hopefully one a month. Big book being something over 500 pages, and you can read along with me. Actually, I was thinking about doing a Goodreads group, kind of a like read along with Emily Fox or something. Find me a better name, please. I've been trying to think about one and I can't find something catchy or fun that I can use long term, so feel free to comment and vote in the comment section. But yes, let's choose the first book. Also, if you did vote in that video of the big books, the winners are Crime and Punishment, Finishing the Count of Monte Cristo. I don't know why I said it in English because I'm reading it in French, so Le Comte de Monte Cristo. It just came out for once. And last but not least, it was so tight, but Red Mars won by just a little bit. But to be honest, I'm planning on reading Sphere and The Sparrow no matter what, so they're all going to happen. But those are the official winners of the big book challenge that we're doing. We shall be reading this month. Ooh. The Passage by Justin Cronin. This is a post-apocalyptic book. I thought it was YA, but apparently it's adult. And I couldn't remember if it was vampires or zombies. It's definitely vampires. I've done that like in multiple videos. I kept comparing things between vampire and something else, and I was always guessing wrong. It's always vampires. I've never read this one. It has really great reviews. So many people talk about it, and I'm constantly mentioned that book. And it has over 758-ish pages, so it's not a small book. I do have, however, the audiobook for it, so I think it's gonna help me get into it and like, you know, go back and forth. I tend to do that. I feel like big books, sometimes it's easier to just plug it in and then do other stuff, clean, walk, whatever I have to do, and then I don't realize that I've been through like half the book that way. Not in one day, but you get it. So if you want to read this book with me, please let me know in the comment section. And like I said, I do want to try and do a Goodreads group so we can talk about it, but otherwise in the comment section, you're always welcome to talk about it, and I will definitely respond to comments on them. And yeah, our first read. I'm excited. Like, it's not the scariest one that I have from that pile of like big books that I wanted to read this year. I feel like this is like kind of an easy one to start with. I was looking it up, and some people say that it's kind of similar to like Stephen King style, kind of horror-ish, so we shall see how I feel about it. The first book is something I thought I would have time to finish last year, and I didn't, so need to finish now. This is The Stone Key by N.K. Jemisin. This is the last book in the Broken Earth trilogy, which is kind of a mix of post-apocalyptic fantasy. Magic system is super interesting, and I read the first two books last year. The first one made it to my best of the year. The second one was kind of like back and forth, like the pace was a little bit all over the place, but this one is amazing. I'm loving it. The only thing is during the holidays and like trying to post so much on this channel, I was not able to pick up my book like at all. So I'm still at 200 something. This one I'm at 258. So I did read a little bit more since I last talked about it, but I have like 150 pages left. I can definitely finish it this month and finally be done with this trilogy. I've enjoyed it quite a bit. Like I said, this one is probably my favorite so far out of the three. It's kind of a different fantasy. Like the pace is a little weird. The writing says a lot of like you. It's like the second person. So it's like kind of weird, and when it switched perspectives, it's like completely different one. You're like, what the hell am I reading, until you get back into it. So it's not the first fantasy I would recommend to people, but if you are already someone that loves fantasy and you don't mind something being a little bit more slow-paced, the writing being a little bit more hard, I guess, I would definitely recommend this. It's very satisfying, and I loved how it's very unique, and she uses some of the discrimination in this book to talk about discrimination in our world. Love it. Now let's go with some of the books I just bought. I did talk about quite a few of those in my top 19 books that I want to read in 2019, but you know how it is, right? You have like a goal, a resolution for the year, and you start strong and then throughout the year. So I have a feeling it's probably going to be what's going to happen to me, but let's do this. Probably the first book I will pick up like a physical copy, because this is probably going to be my first one audiobook wise, but physical copy, Skyward, Brandon Sanderson. Please. Last year, I only read one Brandon Sanderson book, which is crazy to me because he's one of my favorite authors. He's so great at world building, magic system, and his ending are always like amazing. I like even the worst book I've read from him was still a solid read. So really, can't go wrong. This is his newest work, which is a YA sci-fi, which didn't expect from him, but very excited about it because I love sci-fi. And actually book 2, which I believe it's a duology, I think, maybe. But book 2 has been announced for the end of the year too, so like I need to read this because I want to be like ready to binge the whole thing. So, so excited about it. Sentient spaceship, aliens, I'm excited. Which, by the way, I get a lot of question about this edition. I got it on Book Depository. I think it's the UK edition. They tend to have better edition than the US. I don't know why. Let me go quickly through the ones I've talked about a lot. Grey Sister, Mark Lawrence. I read Red Sister last year, made it to my best of the year. It's also a mix of post-apocalyptic and fantasy. Like the world is kind of like going through issues. Like most of the Earth is basically completely iced and people are trying to survive in like battle anywhere they're still available. And you're following a main young female character kind of going to a magical school where she learns to fight from badass nuns with magical powers. This is awesome. I need to continue this. But I enjoyed the friendships and like, I feel like too often female characters don't get great friendships, or it's very like surface level and it's not as intense and deep as other like two male characters, for example, in books. And I find it very refreshing to go through this book and seeing what's going on for them because they are growing up. I believe she starts at like 10 and then at the end of the first book she's like 12. So I'm assuming throughout the whole trilogy she's just gonna get older and, you know, growth. I'm enjoying it. And book 3 is coming out in April, so again, wanting to just binge the whole thing. Next one is the last book in a trilogy. This is Record of a Spaceborne Few by Becky Chambers. I believe all the books are considered kind of companion novels. I do recommend starting with the first one, which I have. Oops, that's the second one. I have it right here, The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. This made it to my like beginner's guide to sci-fi. Definitely recommend that video if you want to get into sci-fi. I tend to recommend the books, like if you usually like this genre, pick up that one. And this one is the most wholesome sci-fi I've ever read. It will make you laugh and make you cry, and it's very character driven. Book 2 is still good, but it was following certain characters, and I have no idea what this one will be about, but I'm very excited. And I mean, the covers are just to die for. And then last book I've mentioned in the past is Dance of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson. This is part of the Remnant Chronicle world. I don't know if you need to read the trilogy first. I'll keep you updated probably at the end of the month on how I feel about this one, but I'm very excited about it too because I love the magic system in there, and I liked how it became bigger and bigger in that trilogy, like the world building, and like it became less about the characters and more about like the huge battle between all the kingdoms. So I'm excited. The cover is to die for. So is the spine. I need to read this. A lot of people were telling me that this is even better than the other ones, so. By the way, if you don't follow me, I definitely recommend you do so on Goodreads. You can see which book I'm currently reading, what I'm thinking about, if I'm DNFing it, or if I'm continuing. It's just a fun way to keep up with each other. So, the next 2 books technically have not yet been in a haul video, but it doesn't matter. You'll see them again later. But, first one is Vengeful by V.E. Schwab. I've been dying to continue this duology for the last couple of years. I read the first one in 2016 and she finally came out with this one. I had the worst time trying to get my hands on it. Long story short, it was hell. But I'm finally able to actually own this and I will be able to read this. 2 friends kind of find a way in university to get superpowers, but they kind of become super villains. I really can't wait to go through that one too. And I feel like a lot of these books are actually not short, but not in a bad way. Like, I feel like I've been trying to conquer my fear of big books, and all of these seem to be like 400 pages, so I'm doing pretty well already. Although I do still need to read them, but I have no doubt I'll read all of them, if not most of them. Last but not least, I've mentioned in the past, I'm very much into the trope of first contact with aliens. It's my jam right now, and this one, again, hasn't been in a haul yet, but it will be. This is Childhood's Hand by Arthur C. Clarke. I did read a book last year by him, did I? Yeah, Rendezvous with Rama, which was also actually a first contact with alien, now that I think about it. But this one seems super interesting. In the back it says, the overlords appeared suddenly over every city, intellectually, technologically, military, superior to humankind, benevolent. They made few demands, unify Earth, eliminate poverty, and end war. With a little rebellion at first, mankind agreed, and a golden age began, but at what cost? Yes, need to read this. I'm very excited about it. I feel like I've said it for every book, but I'm super excited about it. I feel like I'm very happy with this TBR. Like, sometimes you just pick up books because I'm like, oh, you know, why not? I've had it on my shelf for a while, but these I'm all like dying to read them. Probably because a lot of these are actually newer in my collection on my shelves, so I feel like last year I was going through like reading slumps on and off throughout the whole year, so I'm very happy that I'm finally excited all over again. And again, I will stop saying excited because damn, I must be annoying. When I'm editing this video, I will hear it over and over again. People don't realize, sometimes they'll comment like, oh, you know, you keep saying that word, or you didn't pronounce this correctly, and I'm like, trust me, I know. I've had to edit this video. I've had to hear myself say it a few times, and it annoyed me enough. Last but not least, I almost forgot to talk about it. There was one more audiobook. I put myself on the waiting list at my library, and usually audiobooks, the waiting list is shorter than ebooks, but I was number 502. So I obviously decided to get it on Audible instead. This is Becoming by Michelle Obama. Yeah, number 502. I would not have read this book for at least a year, so I will be able to listen to it this month. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Let me know in the comment section if you have read any of these, what you thought about them. Are you planning on reading them with me? Don't forget to subscribe because you definitely don't want to miss any of my future videos. And actually I will be putting on the screen some of my end of the year series. If you haven't seen them, I talked about my best, worst, most disappointing / overhyped and most surprising books that I've read this year, plus some of the books that are coming out, and then all the reading challenges. So many videos in like 2 weeks. So that's gonna be it, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.